Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. All right, so back to Eliphaz. So he talks. He finally speaks up after 7 days. Man, the patience. We don't have that anymore. Um, so he's basically saying, like, look, man, you've been the guy we've all looked up to. You know, you're all about God, and now that stuff's going bad for you, you're ready to throw it all away. But then he goes into um, this whole section about, well, who has perished, who is innocent, or where are the upright destroyed? Just as I have seen plowers and mischief and sowers for trouble will reap it. So he's like, well, look, Job, um, you know, you're complaining, and this stuff has happened to you. So maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe you're wicked, because I've seen what happens to the wicked, and they life it doesn't go well for them. Now, keeping in mind too, right? This is the oldest. They say the oldest story we have. So long before Jesus, and it's still very good and evil, and that like evil people are bad and they get punished, and so if you want to avoid punishment, don't be evil. Um, and and he keeps going on, all this terrible stuff that happens, and he says, "But I myself will seek God, and to God I would commit my cause. He's doing great and unsearchable things." And so that's true, but Job is still seeking God. Eliphaz is kind of making it seem, at least in my interpretation, he's kind of making it seem like, well, Job, you must be doing something wrong, man, because this wouldn't be happening to you otherwise. Because when I'm around wicked people, I get rid of them and I cast them out, and I seek after God. I'm good. I'm good. So bad stuff doesn't happen to me. And that's kind of the irony here. So Job responds. Then Job answered and said, "If only my vexation could be well weighed, and my calamity could be lifted up together with it in the balances, for then it would be heavier than the sands of the seas. Therefore my words have been rash. For the arrows of Shaddai are in me. My spirit drinks their poison. The terrors of God are arrayed against me. Does the wild ass bray over grass, or does the ox bellow over its fodder? Can tasteless food be eaten without salt? Is there taste in the white of a marshmallow plant? I refuse to touch them. They are like food that will make me ill. Oh, that my request may come, and that God may grant my hope, that God would decide that he would crush me, that he would let loose his hand and kill me. But I will still, but I will be, but I will, but, sorry, but it will still be my consolation, and I would recoil in unrelenting pain, for I have not denied the words of the Holy One. What is my strength that I should wait, and what is my end that I should hold out? Or is my strength like the strength of stones, or is my flesh bronze? Indeed, my help is not in me, and any success is driven from me. So he's saying, like, what more can I do? I've lived my whole life serving God the best way I knew how. Um, and he doesn't know the conversation that God was having. But even God handpicked him and said, "Yeah, have you considered my servant Job?" Um, but Job has lost his hope, or rather, Job has placed his hope in death. And part of it is when you focus on when serving God, when your reason for serving God is your personal exaltation, or I think this is why the prosperity gospel gets so much pushback, because when you're seeking after God for what he's going to do for you today, temporarily on earth, you're going to be disappointed. because our idea of what good is so narrow and small, that we can't see outside of our own circumstances, which is even someone like Job. And I think what's beautiful about the story is that we can see ourselves in Job to an extent that, like, when we're working towards something and it feels like nothing's working out, and it's like, wow, I feel like I'm doing the right thing, is that you don't lose hope, because even Job, this great guy, when stuff happened to him, he broke down, he felt weak. But in the same sense, that's what he's saying, is like, well, what is my strength? But see how he's still looking to himself, as if he can solve his problems, or that if he was stronger, he could do this or that. And that's not, but here he is in the midst of this calamity, and as far as he can see, nothing can be done about it. And so he just wants to die. But he's kind of denying the power of God, or the mercy. It's weird. And I think that's why this is such a fascinating story. And we'll see how his mind changes as he goes through this. But he's got to get this out. And I think it's also really cool that that God, because first of all, God's not punishing him at all. This is just happening. And we'll see that it's actually for Job's own good, but Job can't see that in the moment. And his friends can't even see it, because, it's a very human thing when we have, that friend that's always doing the right thing, that's this great guy or whatever. Well, when we see them fail, it's very tempting to be like, I knew you were messed up. I knew you were doing something wrong. You're not so perfect, are you? But we can all say that to all of ourselves. So anyway, but it would still be my consolation, and I would recoil in unrelenting pain, for I have not denied the words of the Holy One. And I wonder what he means by that. What word specifically? What is my strength that I should wait? And what is my end that I shall hold out? Or is my strength like the strength of stones? Is my flesh bronze? Indeed, my help is not in me, and any success is driven from me. Loyal love should come for the afflicted from his friend, even if he forsakes the fear of Shaddai. My companions are treacherous like a torrent bed, like a stream bed of wadis. What is this? Wadis. A seasonal stream that is often dry. Like a stream bed of wadis, they flow away, which are growing dark because of ice upon them. It will pile up snow. In time they dry up, they disappear. When it is hot, they vanish from their place. The paths of their way wind around, and they go up into the wasteland, and they perish. The caravans of Tema looked. The traveling merchants of Sheba hoped for them. They are disappointed because they trusted. They came here, and they are confounded. For now you have become such. You see terrors and you fear. Is it because I have said, give to me, or offer a bribe for me from your wealth, or save me from the foe's hand, or ransom me from the tyrant's hand? Teach me, and I myself will be silent, and make me understand how I have gone astray. How painful are upright words! But what does your reproof reprove? Do you intend to reprove my words, and consider the words of a desperate man as win? Even over the orphan you would cast the lot, and you would bargain over your friend. Therefore be prepared, turn to me, and surely I would not lie to your face. Please turn, let no injustice happen. Indeed, turn, my righteousness is still intact. Or is there injustice on my tongue? Or can my palate not discern calamity? So he's like, look, dude, if I've done something wrong, tell me. Because you're having a good time saying, well, look at you, bud. In this state, you must have screwed up. God must be after you. I mean, you know how God deals with the wicked, so you must be wicked. And he's like, well, look, dude, I get what you're saying, but What have I done, man? Like, show me. Show me what I've done wrong, and I'll shut up. Does not a human being have hard service on the earth? Are not his days like the days of a laborer? Like a slave, he longs for the shadow. Like a laborer, he waits for his wages. So I had to inherit months of worthlessness, and nights of misery are appointed to me. When I lie down, I say, when shall I rise? But the night is long, and I have my fill of tossing until dawn. My body is clothed with maggots and clods of dust. My skin hardens, then it gives way again. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and they come to an end without hope. Remember that my life is a breath. My eye will not return to see good. The eye of one seeing me will not see me, and your eyes are upon me, but I will be gone. A cloud vanishes and it goes away, and he who goes down to Sheol will not come up. He does not return again to his house, and his place does not recognize him again. Even I will not restrain my mouth. I will speak in my spirit's anguish. I will complain in my inner self's bitterness. Am I the sea or a sea monster that you have set a guard over me? When I say, my bed will comfort me and my couch will ease my complaint, then you terrify me with dreams, and with visions you terrify me. So my inner self will choose strangling death more than my existence. I loathe my life. I would not live forever. Depart from me, for my days are a breath. What is a human being that you make him great, and that you fix your mind on him, so that you visit him every morning, you test him every moment? How long will you not turn away from me, or leave me alone until I swallow my spit? If I have sinned, what have I done to you, watcher of humanity? Why have you made me as a target for yourself, so that I might become a burden to myself? And why do you not pardon my transgression, and take away my guilt? For now I shall lie in the dust, and you will seek me, but I will be no more. And this to me is so beautiful right here. And why do you not pardon my transgression and take away my guilt? Job's not guilty, and he hasn't transgressed. But at this time, the only way of interpreting things was good stuff happens to good people, bad stuff happens to bad people. Now, fast forward, whatever, it's probably 5,000 years or so, at least. Well, we see that now, but we've had Jesus for 2,000 years, and what's kind of, it's almost like Job's prayer was for Christ, and so God answered Job's prayer, and he kind of set the stage for it. Where it's like, well, look, this all good, all evil thing, it just doesn't work out. You can be all good, and bad stuff's still going to happen to you in this lifetime. And we all see that. So it's like, well, so what's the hope? What's the point? It's that those who are in Sheol will come up. And God will pardon transgressions and take away the guilt. And that's why he looks at us. He's been trying to say, I'm not like these other gods. And I'm not like you guys. You guys are really interested in justice and being justified. And it's like, you have no idea what justice is. You don't live long enough. You don't have understanding. So don't give up. Don't give up, because you don't know what's on the other side. Even Job is basically begging for death, and God doesn't give it to him. And he might resent that in the moment, but that's not what happens. And Job ends up more blessed than he ever was. And you could think of it like this. It's like, why did God let Satan torture Job? Or was like, but in a way you could think of it that Satan was kind of doing Job a favor, because until Job went through this, he was only half the man that he could have been, because everything he had doubled after this episode. So it's, there's a lot of lessons in like perspective and gratitude and being able to be content in a circumstance that you don't understand. Because the difference between Job and Jesus, right? Jesus was blameless. But when Jesus was faced with kind of the inevitability of his thing, he still asked God. He said, Lord, if there's any other way, please take this come from me. But not my will, but yours be done. And I think Job hasn't quite gotten to that place. And again, the wonderful thing about Jesus is that we can't do it. Like that's good. Like if we could be as good as Jesus, then that would mean that was expected of us. And so good freaking luck. But it's not, because Jesus did that. So we don't have to live in this hopeless reality that Job is facing, because Jesus came to show us what God's been trying to teach us. Well, what God has been teaching, what we've been trying to learn from God this whole time. So this is cool. I'll stop at Eliphaz and we'll pick up with Bildad next time. Thanks for joining in. Sorry for the interruption. God bless you. Merry Christmas.